Hello and welcome to ARK Survival Evolved. We're on the Extinction map and today we're going to be building an Enforcer. I've finally managed to get myself a reasonable quality Ascendant one, a pretty high level one. So I want to build one of those, but I also want to build a better Scout as well, one that's got longer range. And I finally managed to get building a tech replicator. I mean, after that bit of a disaster in the previous video, going through the cave and getting killed and losing everything and having to start all over again, I've spent ages having to gather resources, and I've finally managed to get enough to build this S Plus tech replicator, as well as replace a lot of the tools and weapons that I lost. But before I get started, I mean, if at any time you do find yourself liking any parts of this video, then do please click the like button, because that'll be greatly appreciated. If you've got any comments or suggestions that you'd like to make, then do please post those in the comment section below. They'll always be appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, then do subscribe. Just remember to click that little bell icon as well, so you'll get notification for when new content comes out. But coming back to what we're going to be doing today, as I say, it's been a really long grind. I mean, I've built myself an S Plus tech replicator because I like using the S Plus stuff. But for me, I've just used that S Plus crafting station over there. If you're on a vanilla server and don't have you know, an S Plus mod on, then basically, from what I can tell, you've got to go all the way over to the cave, like the desert cave, for instance. You're gonna have to haul all the resources over to there and build your tech replicator there. I mean, I was actually going to put this one in the city. And that's what I actually did. I took all these foundations over to the city base that I've got, built that, popped the tech replicator down, and then I went out farming some scouts and some enforcers, and then I found out what the resource requirements were, and it's like, there's no way I'm going to be able to take all the resources over there. It's just getting absolutely crazy. I mean, I found various ones. And what I did is I took Werner and a couple of the Velonosaurs out. We were shooting down scouts. Basically, I was just getting them to target the scouts. I don't know why, but for some strange reason, what I found is all the blueprints I got are primitive ones. So I've got a couple of high level ones, like a 150 one here. I've got a 162 here. But all the scouts I got down, they just gave back primitive blueprints. And from what I can tell, the scouts that you kill, the level of that scout determines the level of the blueprint you'll get. I mean, you won't necessarily get the same level back, but you'll get something similar. So if you want a high level scout, you've got to basically shoot down a high level scout that's out there, you know, one of the wild high level scouts. But it needs like a lot of crystal. I mean, I've got a couple of gachas that will produce crystal, but they'll pop about 10 per gacha crystal. There's some crystal that's over there that I've been mining as well, because that took a long time to mine all this stuff. Then you've got the pretty high demand for the element dust and the metal ingots. The electronics pretty easy. Metal ingots wasn't that hard because most of the time the actual gacha crystals that I don't want, the named ones, I can just grind them up. I mean, I won't be keeping things like these. I've got like Mary the monkey. I was keeping one of these helmets on her, but the trouble is, after a while, they start to degrade, and eventually they break. So I've just got her now running around with a little cloth helmet on. The enforcers are slightly different. So I did find some high level enforcers. The best I've gotten was this 168. There's a 150 here. And what I found with those is they're kind of similar to the scout, in that the level of the enforcer that you kill determines the level of the blueprint you get back. It's kind of frustrating that it's a one-off craft, so you've got to make sure that if these scouts get killed, that you pick its blueprint back up again. But it's kind of frustrating, I must admit. You've got to get means you've got to keep rebuilding them every time you lose them. And the resource demands are high. I mean, this is a 150, and it needs over 19,000 dust and 1900 crystal. Now, this one's not that much bigger, but it's you're talking about 26 getting onto 27,000 dust. So 3,000 ingots, 2,674 crystal. I mean, it's a big demand. I mean, the polymer, I started grinding the obsidian to make polymer just to see, you know, what that would be like. But that was another reason why I wanted to keep the replicator here. I mean, I've got well over like 1,000 polymer, I think. I did manage to grind quite a lot of it, but I think it's going to be a case of, yeah, I'm close to about 1,000, and I just got to the point where it's just taking so long, so I'm just going to make use of the organic polymer, because that's really easy for me to get a hold of by just, you know, grinding these sort of things. So for now I'm just going to keep the tech replicator here, although the plan is I really want like a tech base in the city. But at the moment I need a lot more dust. So what I'm going to do is, I mean, I've started using one of the gatches. It pops about 180 dust per crystal. But there's one thing I want to try is to actually get the just checking. I don't know if it's finished yet. Yeah, I want to just double check and see if you can still mine element dust with these Deodicruses. Because I know in the city before, what you could do is you could take one of these and harvest things like the lamppost and the tables and what have you, and get quite a lot of dust back. I mean, they've nerfed the element vein, so you can't use dinos. You've got to use metal tools now. That's the only option if you want to get any mining done on them. So I thought, well, I'm just for peace of mind, I want to take a Deodicurus out to the city and see if that still works. Otherwise, I'll just have to rely on the gatches, or, you know, orbital supply drops maybe. Not orbital supply drops, the element veins, and mine those. One thing actually that's new to this little area there is that little lodge that I've built there. I actually got the design for that off UTC's YouTube channel, because it's really good. He's done some really good little lodges dotted around. I'm quite interested in making some similar ones out for the different biomes, to be honest. It's this version I've done it's pretty much the same. I haven't coloured it or anything, but I've just used like the wooden windows, because I found I don't quite like the way that the windows don't close properly. If you put the glass ones in, you end up with a gap. You've got the door. If you use like a reinforced door, I end up with a gap, and I just don't like those, to be honest. So I've got myself like a double bed and a chair and what have you. And I put some angular gel into the fires. That's one thing I like about the S Plus ones, is you can just turn them on and leave them, but I don't have to keep like resupplying them. It just gets to be a chore. So yeah, I really like that. I mean, it's an interesting design. Mine's slightly different. I mean, I've got a chimney down the side there as opposed to over at the back there. So yeah, I do like them, I must admit. It's very nice. I haven't really done much with this one except left the fireplace in there, but yeah, I really like that. It's really useful. But what I'm going to do now is I need to go off to the city, and I'm going to test out a Deodicurus, and then I'll bring you back. Well, that's definitely a relief. I've come out to the back out to the city, and assuming this thing can actually hit the actual lamppost, it does mine it. So there you go. So 344 element dust off that one lamppost. So that's good to know. So it's going to be a case of I'm going to mine some up. I'm not just going to do that on camera because it's just kind of a chore, to be honest. But oh wow, yeah, that's a bit of a problem, man. That's another reason why you don't want to be doing sort of like this forever on camera, because it would just take forever and a day to get backwards and forwards. But go on. I mean, the Agnes over there, she's got like 1,000 weight. But I mean, he's just mined up all this crystal. It's just, I mean, you can keep the crystal. I mean, I'm kind of like reluctant to throw the crystal away now, considering how long it takes to actually make the blum and stuff, to mine the blum and stuff. But you stay there. There's one spider over there. Oh, it's a turtle. I thought it was a sargo. Yeah, I thought it was a sargo. It was creeping up. But yeah, I'm gonna have to take dips here. But there's one thing I was going to show you, and that is what I've been doing off camera. Is I managed to get myself some titanobores. I got a couple here. I've got that was a level 6. There's a level 6 one there and a level 12 one. Because what I want to get them to produce eggs for me, so that I can get titanobore kibble, and then I can get myself a decent thylacoleo. I mean, I know a couple of places where I can get the beehives from, but the trouble is it's the ones I found were quite high up on a wall in pretty awkward places to reach. So you could probably get there and like do it, but it would be a bit of a chore. At some point I do want to get a couple of overs and make my life a lot easier. But when I went to get those titanobores, I started off, I adapted this little trap here, because that's one of the things I love about these Argentavis. They're a real game changer. They make your life so much easier. I mean, you can just literally go out, pick things up, drop in a trap. So I adapted this one. I changed the ground floor over to stone. I mean, there's a one down there. I've missed it out, but I don't know how. I mean, somehow it still managed to get out. It seemed to, like, literally, I mean, I came over, dropped an egg, and it somehow managed to crawl out of that little, right on the corner point. Even though the walls were solid walls, it somehow managed to crawl out. So I thought, well, maybe it's the second floor. Maybe it technically it got through the window, but the graphics showed it coming through the corner. So what I did is I've actually built myself another trap, which is I'm really just using it for the titanobores. So it's I built it fairly high up, so it's like a 3-high wall. And I put a door in so I could get in and out. So what I was doing is I was dropping about 5 fertilized eggs in there. And when I went to get the titanobores, the reason I put it there actually was because I saw some titanobores in that desert cave. But I was out here with Ozzy looking for some enforcers. There wasn't that many to see in the city itself. So I was hunting around out here on the outskirts for enforcers, and I found myself some snakes out here. And I'll just see if there's any more out here, to be honest. I mean, it's right where you see that break in the wall, just to the right. There was quite a few of them over there. So I mean, I found a 30, but it picked that, because there's no point getting high level ones, because I just want eggs. So I was really lucky. I got a level 6 and then a level 12. So I'm gonna keep coming back out here, because I just want I want a couple more. But realistically I'm gonna have to use the S Plus collector, because otherwise you need a special sort of like foundation to prop them up on so that the eggs fall through. Otherwise it's very difficult to collect their eggs. But at least I know where I can get them from now. It's just tend to spawn over there, so that's pretty easy to keep going back to there. But anyway, the good thing is that those Doedicurises can still get me some decent level element dust. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to mine up some dust. Then I'll head back to the forest and we'll build our enforcer and scout. So back in a short while, hopefully. Well, there's one thing you do in ARK, is it's you adapt. I was just coming back, spotted this in enforcer, took it out with Agnes here, and it's dropped a 168 blueprint. I mean, I just picked it up basically. Picked it up with Agnes and killed it. Because you might have noticed is this I think it was this Charlie here. It's that brown one over there. Oh, it's a Megatherium, that's it. It's a Megatherium. Yeah, it's a brown Megatherium there. I just spotted it in the corner when I was coming back to here. So I picked it up and killed it. And it was a 168. As I say, with ARK, I mean, you can go out looking for certain types of dinos, and for some strange reason you don't. Well, you have. I tend to find it actually is harder to find the actual dino that you want. So if I'm going out looking like for a high level allo, for some strange reason I end up with like lots of low level allos, and it becomes really difficult to find one. So it's just a case of having to adapt to you know, whatever you find basically, and you know, if you find a high level, take it. It's funny because the other, I mean, that 168 that's in the replicator, I went out with all the Volanosaurs hunting down enforcers and scouts, came back to base because I had about 6 of them at the time behind me. So I dropped them off, went out with 3, did another tour, came back, dropped them off outside of the base, picked up all the stuff they'd collected because they were getting all sorts of materials off these enforcers. I left them literally outside of the base, went in the base, dropped everything off, came back out, and there was an enforcer right outside the gate, and it was a 168. So up to that point I'd had like a 150 enforcer, and then I suddenly, just sheer luck, ended up with like a 168, and then oddly enough I then ended up with this this 168 here. It actually has, going by that, I mean, look at the amount of dust it needs. 16,000 dust. It's just, I mean, I've got to use that one because it needs so much less resources. I just don't get it. Because you look at that one there, that's a 150 and it needs 19,000 dust. This one only needs 16,000. The resource requirements are actually less, and yet I mean, it's got much better health, stamina, energy. I mean, that was just sheer, absolute sheer luck. Because I mean, these are all the sort of like the scouts I've been picking up along the way. You can see there's various levels. So I mean, like that one's like a 102, level 24, and from what I can tell, that determines things like how many shields you get, range, and so on. So I mean that's a level 90 and it's got 32,000 range, but it's got more range than that level 102. So it just comes down to like, it's just weird. They must be very random, these stats. But I'm definitely going to take that back now. I just can't believe it. All I did is, I mean, I was just heading back to the gate, spotted it. It was like I think it was like a kind of a bronzy, like brown colour. So I just picked it up and yeah, I just killed that one. And it was like, wow, it's 168. Oh, I'll have that and see what that one's like. And that was just sheer luck. So I'll compare it to the other one, but I know some of the stats on that one are less than what this one's got. But wow, that's lucky. It's going to be a pain because this is going to be one of those ones where I'm going to have to make sure if it does ever get killed, I'll have to make sure to pick up the blueprint, because you know, like Agnes here, is easily replaceable. I've got two of these RGs here. All I've got to do is just, you know, rebreed them, pop an egg out, it'll come out exactly the same stats as long as it's imprinted, and then you just got to level it. But these things you've got to keep rebuilding. These enforcers and scouts, you've got to gather all the resources and rebuild them from scratch. Yeah, you've got the blueprints, so you can pick up the blueprint, replace that one. I'm assuming, I don't know at this stage whether you get exactly the same blueprint back. But yeah, I still need a lot of dust though, so I'm going to go off and get myself a lot of dust, and then I'll bring you back. One thing I should mention is this is a pretty good area where I'm at if you want to mine dust using these things like the chairs, for instance. Let's see, where are we at? Right on the edge over here. It's at about, what, 50, 71 roughly. So there's quite a few chairs dotted around, lampposts and all sorts. So I mean, I'm getting about like 300, close to about 400 per like. I hit 440 odd there. I mean, I just increased a melee level. I mean, I'm having to throw a crystal away. I should have remembered that you get like a lot of crystal, but the problem is transporting it anyway. So up to now, most of the crystal I've been getting is either off the gachas or the using the ankle load to mine it all. But you can get quite a lot of good metal up, a lot of dust up here. I mean, there are other places like, but yeah, I just thought I'd show you. So, be back in a short while once I've got all my dust. Okay, so now I've got all my dust. I'm ready to try and see if I can get one of these enforcers and scouts built. Oddly enough, I'm trying to find it, but this one was actually on Agnes. I found this blueprint on her. I don't know, I must have forgot to take it off at some point. But this one here seems to be still the best one because it's got such a low level, such a low requirement in there for things like dust. For the metal, I mean, look, I mean that's a massive difference there. I mean, 3,000 ingots versus just under 2,000, 16,000 dust versus 26. I mean, the dust alone is, I mean, it's just crazy the differences. I mean, this one's an interesting one. I mean, this one's got actually higher damage than the other two because they've got like a damage rating of 130. But I quite like this all-rounder one. I mean, it's a lot cheaper for me to make, and it's got, yeah, it's got much more health. Stamina-wise, it's got more. Now its energy level's low, so that could be interesting. Weight, it's got the best weight, and it's got the same amount of damage as that one. So I'm going to make that one. I mean, basically, I had to go back. Oh no, that's interesting. Oh yes, I need the organic polymer. I mean, I did make quite a lot of polymer. So I mean, I had nearly like 1,000 or so. Let's just see, that needs 960. So I'll just pull that across. I already put some organic polymer in there, but then I realised I didn't have any element on me to actually start this thing, so I had to go all the way back to the city to get some. So that was straight. Wow, that was quick. Okay, so pop that over there. We've got enough to make this. So this scout's it's got good range on it. I mean, what I'm quite keen to do is to build an actual tech electrical generator. I mean, I've got all this dust. I had all this dust because I was going to make this one for about 20-something thousand, so I've got tons of dust left. So I know these two will be powered by dust. I mean, I think if memory serves, they need about 20 dust just to basically activate it, which means every time you're finished with it, you've got to throw another 20 dust at it. This one, I can't remember about that one, but it does need dust to actually at least run, as far as I recall. Now that's something that could be interesting to get into, because that's the mech. I mean, I've got the engram for the unassembled mech. Let's see, so that's the tech generator. So I'm going to need to get a lot of. I think I should have enough black pearl. I should be able to probably. Yeah, I need some more black pearl, but I've got a gadget that can make that, so that should be okay. Just want to see what other. So that'll make the mech. I'm sure there was some. Let's see what the tech one, because it was. I think it was like a load of weaponry or something that you could get for that thing. Just have a look at the ones for extinction. I mean, I haven't bothered with this taxidermy stuff. You can basically use that tool, and then you can get little statues and what have you for all like all the dinos that you've done. I don't think I'll need a grenade, at least not at this point. I do want to make at least a cryo fridge. So these are all the things for the mech. So they've got to be done in the tech generator. I've sort of like got these ones because I'm assuming I'm going to need these. I'm not so sure about these ones yet because it's a siege cannon module and a cannon shell. But at this stage, I think it's probably just these ones I'd imagine I'd need. But I'm not ready to try that out yet. I mean, I want to try and go out and get some of the other dinos first. But oh, better pick that up. The main thing was to basically to get this Ascendant enforcer and a better scout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back to the city. So I want to test these out see what they're like, and I'll bring you back once I get there. Okay then, so we're over at the city. Just gonna pop this this enforcer. I've been leveling it up, and because the problem is the health. It had very low health when I got it. That's something that's been bothering me, so I've been trying to pump as much health into this as I could. One thing to bear in mind is that if you're ever on the back of one of these things, oh no, that's interesting. Normally, if you press, say, like the A key, if you're on the back of a mount, I've only just noticed this actually. So like I'm on the, he can't move side to side because I'm pressing like the A key and the D key. He's not moving. If I hold the A key and press the use button, I dismount to the left. Now with an enforcer, it can move on a horizontal plane. So it can move left and right, you know, forward and backwards. But that means that I can't like strategically jump off in a certain direction. Yeah, I can't. All I can do is jump to the right. So that's something I'll have to bear in mind. But I'll just pop Ollie back into stasis first. But yeah, I mean, I've been leveling it up because of the fact that it's got such low health. That's got me concerned. Last thing I need is something that's gonna get killed too quickly. Right, I've got to give you this dust, otherwise you'll starve to death, and then that's it. It'll be a short end to your meager existence. Right, so that gives me the meat that I can keep a hold of for Ollie, although I'll get tons of it off this thing. One thing I've found actually is this thing, it can't harvest things like wood, stone, trees, but it can harvest these. I mean, to be fair, you don't really get a great deal. But I mean, that's interesting. You can harvest the lamppost and whatever. One thing to bear in mind is that it shouldn't take any fall damage here, which is brilliant. But one thing to bear in mind is that normally when you've got a dino, you would, if you see an explorer note, you want to be on the actually riding the dino, because then when you touch the explorer note, the dino gets the XP buff as well. But one thing I've noticed is that if you then pop that dino into a cryopod, you'll keep your XP buff. When you come to pop that dino back out of the cryopod, its XP bonus is gone. It doesn't have that buff anymore, which is a pity. But one thing I've noticed though is it's a case that if it's attacking corrupted dinos, it can hand out a lot more damage than it can against normal dinos. So just go up against this one, this stego here for instance. I mean, this thing handing out about 417 damage. I mean, I'm on about 307 % melee damage. One of the things about the blueprint on this one, it said it had I think it said like 115% energy. Energy is the equivalent of food on a normal dino. So normally you'll see like that, that'll be going down and it'll consume some dust. Its health seems to go up relatively slowly, and you can't consume dust. I've got like element shards and it can't consume those, so I can't speed up that healing rate. If I use meat, I can consume meat, but I'm not noticing that the health is going up any faster. The stamina on this thing's good. I mean, I'm running around, I'm sprinting around on this thing, and stamina's flashing away, but it's not particularly going down that much, so it does hold quite a bit in stamina. So it can do more damage to corrupted dinosaurs than it can to normal ones. As far as I was aware, it can take less damage. It takes less damage, I should say, if it's from corrupted dinos, but I've not noticed that. It seems very subjective. I mean, I've been up against like a low level stego, for instance, and it didn't seem to matter whether it was corrupted or normal. I've still ended up with like suddenly like a high level of damage being taken. I mean, that one, I think that one's trapped anyway. Or is it? I'm not 100% sure, but I've been up against these dillos as well, and although they've spit on me, I haven't had that penalty. But if you look at that, I mean, that dinosaur there, it's 108. It's throwing out almost the equivalent in damage. So I'm getting almost as much damage per level from a dinosaur. But I've had situations where I was taking like 72 damage from a level 20 something damage. So I was getting, you know, double, 3 times the amount of damage, and it didn't seem to matter whether it was a corrupted one or not. I just want to test this because I'm trying to get it to see if it'll spit on me, because so far none of these dillos seem to spit on it, which is odd. They'll get trapped by I think Mary's just flinging poo at it. it's annoying. No, I mean it'll get trapped by spiders. Oh, here. Where is it there? So the spider can throw a web at you and slow you down. But so far, I don't think it. I don't think it seems to be taking any of that blindness damage. So you see, I mean, it's webbed, so it's taking that buff there to say that it's been webbed, and so it's obviously movement speed slowed down. Just going to see if I can find maybe like a scorpion. If I can find a scorpion, then I want to test the poison as well. But I'm pretty much on the fence when it comes to the defensive capabilities of these things, because I mean, as I say, I mean, I've seen sort of like a normal stego or normal trike. Well, normally it's been stegos I've been testing it against, but it tends to take kind of the same damage, I think. It tends to be either the same amount as the level, but then I've gone up against another one and I'm getting a lot less. I mean, obviously all these dinosaurs that are out here, they've all got certain, you know, points put into certain statistics, so it's pretty subjective. But it's interesting going up against things like these trikes, because normally if I was up against that trike, if I shoot it in the head, it's got big armor plating and it takes much less damage. With this thing, that goes out the window. I mean, I'm hitting this thing head on, and it don't make a hair of the difference. I mean, it's just seriously handing out damage. So I think these could be pretty good in a, you know, orbital supply drops, element vein defenses, for instance. I think that might be something I'd want to test them on, but I'd need to be able to build a posse up like this. I'd need to get a lot of materials to do it. I quite like, I mean, they've got this one. I forgot, like those little icons down just above the hotbars. That's to do with its teleporting capability. Yeah, so I'm putting out much less damage against normal dinos, but that's its teleporting capability. And then I remember with the first one I got, it only had one of those, and I think at certain levels it gets extra ones. So I mean, I can hold the right mouse button and it's based on line of sight, so I could get beyond that rock, for instance. So it seems to like blink through. I think that's why it's called, blink or something. So it can technically teleport me from one point of the map based on field of view, not field of view, line of sight. So that's about as far as I can get. You can get it to go on walls, but it depends on the distance I've found. And it'll climb up walls, and it's got that little icon similar to the Drake. So it's kind of similar to a Drake, like you can climb all over things. Once it's in climbing mode, it's brilliant. Oh, raptors. Yep, you're toast. So it's kind of similar to the Drake, and in that once it's in climbing mode, it'll climb anything. It'll climb vertical. Oh, there's a scorpion. Let's see what happens here. So I was curious about this because it's it's mechanical. Trouble is, the scorpion's not trying to sting me, which I'm finding a bit puzzling. Oh well, it is. It's trying to sting me. It doesn't look as though it can. That's interesting. Well, I would assume it's something I would assume it couldn't do is sting you because it's mechanical. But yeah, it's trying to sting you and it's nothing's happening. So that's useful. So it doesn't like drain your stamina like on a normal dinosaur. I mean, it gets around the map really quickly. It's very good for getting around on the map because it's super duper fast. Let's see what level this one is. So this one's level 30. So let's see what damage this one will throw out. You gonna hit me? Come on! I need numbers. So that's throwing out like 89 damage, and it's only level 30. So that's a bit strange, whereas, I mean, I've been up against, like, for instance, a level 114 corrupted dino that was putting out about 121. But you saw there, that was throwing out much higher damage level than its level. So yeah, I'm a bit on the fence when it comes to how much damage these things can do. But as far as the blink goes, I mean, you can, as long as you've got line of sight, you can get there. You can actually get onto the walls. I mean, it would be a great way to escape if you had to. I mean, you can use it to get onto walls. You can use it to get down from walls as well. One thing I found though is that it's not like the Therizino, not the Therizinosaurus, the Thylacoleo. With the Thylacoleo, you can pounce on something, pin it down. You don't get that with the Enforcer. And to actually jump onto a wall, it seems to depend how far away you are, because that line of sight you can kind of push it so far out, but there is a limit. If I don't want to go ahead with it, I can just press the left click and it'll cancel it. So that's the primary attack button that cancels it. Now I'm just going to try this, because what I've found is if I'm too far away from the wall, it doesn't work. What happens is I seem to just like blink through air, and then I'll hit the wall and fall. Yeah. So it seems to, it's kind of a bit deceptive, because that to me gave me the impression I'd get onto the wall, but I didn't, which is a bit odd. But it's good for getting out of a tight situation. It's good for getting around on the map quicker, but obviously it consumes energy more. I mean, I gave this like 1,000 dust to start, so it's added a bit more, like, but it's consumes it quite quickly. Now the interesting thing is the health. That's the one thing that bothers me, is that taking one of these things out. Let's see where I'm at on the map, because I want to get back to base. Although actually I don't need to. One thing I found, actually, that's something else. See if I can get up there. Right, I'll just go up there. This is interesting. These defense units will attack any dino on the map. They'll go after the corrupted ones, the normal ones, any ones that you've tamed. Now I've got little Mary, my Mesopithecus, on my shoulder for some strange reason, which is looking backward. But this defense unit doesn't seem phased while I'm on the back of this Enforcer. It's kind of odd, that. It's kind of like, I think it must be like programmed to just attack any and all dinos. Because technically this Enforcer doesn't come under the category of a dinosaur as such, but it's something you've tamed. It doesn't come after you yourself. It just comes after the dinosaurs, it seems. Now one thing I have found though, as I say, I'm a bit concerned, it starts off with quite a lot of low health, so I'm quite keen to keep boosting that. The other thing that's been bothering me is the fact that it just seems to take forever for the health to go up. But what I've noticed actually is, I'll just pop Aussie Owl back out. I'm going to give him all the meat that let you hold that for now, so I can give you some meat. I'm going to pull all the meat off that. Actually, where's that feather gone? Because I want it back. So I'm just going to jump onto this, onto Aussie, because what I've found is, if I get Aussie to huddle up and then start to do his little healing motion, it actually heals up that enforcer. So I can see myself basically going around with one of these enforcers. Whenever I'm on there, I'll make sure that I've got an owl with me. Because, I mean, if you look at the health on this thing now, the health has gone up much higher. So that seems to be the quickest way to heal these things up, is to just have them sitting next to an owl and get the owl to heal them. And then their health will go up much quicker. It'll solve your problem. Now, I don't know how that's going to work in the case of, say, like an orbital supply drop or an element vein, defense job, because it's the health goes down quite quickly because they've got no armor. I mean, I'm not aware of any like saddle or anything that they've got, which is a bit of a shame. So they are quite susceptible to damage. But what I have noticed, I mean, apart from, like, you've got the left click to attack things, you've got the right click which does blink. Now this should be pretty nasty because these are as a terror bird. What I can do, if I press the C button, I get a kind of like a shield, but the shield doesn't reduce the damage. I think it just puts some sort of, I think it's kind of like the equivalent of the what the trike does. The trike, and I think the trike stuns. If you get a trike and build up its rage and then charge, you get it does a kind of like a knock effect on the actual on the target, and it stuns them a bit. I'm not really sure what effect that stun does, but you can do that something similar to that. If you press a C key, for small dinosaurs, it literally pushes them away, and you'll see that little red heart where you get like a cooldown before you can use it again. If you use it on a higher level, the bigger dinosaurs, you don't have the knockback, but you still get a kind of a stun. I still find that interesting. I mean, I'm hitting that trike head on, and yeah, I'm not I'm not getting like reduced damage against it because of the it's got a big massive helmet, if you will, to protect it. Yeah, for some reason this enforcer, I mean, maybe it's just because it can get around it with such a long reach or something, I don't know, but it's quite interesting that. So yeah, so I mean, I do really like this enforcer because they're great for getting around on the map. The only concerns I'd say I've got are it's kind of disappointing you can't like tank anything on the back of this and like trank them as well with a long neck, for instance, like you can with a Therizino. So it'll be a case of if you want to shoot something, you're going to have to jump off. That's one of the greatest strengths I think that the Therizino's got. You can tank a T-Rex or an Allosaurus off the back of a Therizino. The low health at the start is a bit of a concern. That's that is something I'd have to be careful of, because obviously I can create quite a lot of these, but I'd have to take them out and make sure they get some decent health on them, because otherwise they're quite susceptible to damage. I was quite fortunate with this particular one because the blueprint came out and had quite low energy, which it's the equivalent of food, which I'm not really bothered about, to be honest. but it's had quite other pretty good element stats as well. Like, I mean, it had the highest health among them all, and yet it cost me the fewest resources. So I've been quite lucky in that respect. But I do want to like make some more. It'll take quite a lot of resources though to make those other 168s, for example. That would be a lot of resources to gather. So I think what I want to do next is I'll keep that on the back burner for now, because what I want to do is I want to get myself a Therizinosaurus, because I want to get some aloes, because I'll need the eggs off them for another type of kibble. If I can get some high level ones, great, but otherwise I'm not too fussed. I need Rexes, I think, for another type of kibble. Because they're in the bigger family of dinosaurs. But I mean, I've got 2 Titanoboas so far. I do need some more. But I think the next thing I want to do is definitely go out looking for a high level Thylacoleo. I mean, ARK being ARK, I'll go looking for one. I'll probably just find lower level ones, but I might end up doing something else. It just depends on what I find. But I didn't really get much chance to do much with the Scouts. I mean, it's got longer range on it. I mean, that's about it, to be honest, as far as I can tell. I mean, it'll be great for like reconnaissance in places like caves, as long as it's got that longer reach, because then I could basically clear like a little area out, move the Scout down, and then see what else is around the corner. Definitely useful for that forest cave where there's like a Eutrianus, for example, because I could use that like as a strategic advantage of being able to go in there, see what's ahead. Alright, okay, there's a there's a Eutrianus. I'll send a small group into it to focus on the Eutrianus. They'll get spooked by the fear, and then I'll send the second wave in to actually focus on the Eutrianus itself. So that's one way I could deal with them. So I'm gonna definitely be carrying that thing around a lot more now. In terms of this though, I want to keep running around on the map and leveling it up, but to catch a Therizino, I mean, really, I'm just going to be taking Agnes out to do all that. I think I left her back at the forest though, but I'll just take her out to basically pick them up. Use Ozzy the Scout for one, and then I'll use Agnes to go along, pick one up, drop it in the pen, and that's it. It'll make my life a lot easier. So anyway, it's definitely been interesting learning quite a bit about this Enforcer. I'm glad I've got a higher level one. I've been extremely lucky, I think, getting one with had such fewer resources to create one. But I do want to make an army of them. So I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If so, do please leave a like. I'd really appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, and yeah, do subscribe. And just remember to click the little bell icon, and that way you'll get notifications for when new daily content comes out. And if you've got any comments or suggestions, then please post them in the comment section below. So until the next video, thanks very much for watching. Bye!